Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Every Day is Saturday. I'm Matt Stahl, along with my partner here, Brad Gatto. We have an exciting episode today, which means we're going to be interviewing a new addition. But before we get to that,
addition to what?
To Fiat Wealth Management.
Okay, just making sure.
The Fiat family, yes.
You're very assumptive with your language. I want to make sure all the listeners are on the same page.
Brad's having another kid.
Yeah. Holy moly. Gosh, I just got like a sick feeling in my stomach when you said that.
That means he loves you guys so much.
Yeah. Kids. I love the two I got so much that I don't need another one. I'm fulfilled.
Brad, what have you been up to?
I don't know, but this one's sideways fast. I don't know, man. Work and I don't know. Kids are back in school.
Kids are back in school.
Well, actually, the big thing that's going on outside of work is we're trying to figure out the flow of life, because my wife worked from the day she graduated college till recently, was a neonatal intensive care nurse at the Children's Hospital here in Minnesota, and has recently stepped away from that and trying to decide what she's going to do. I mean, I selfishly would love for her to stay home. Makes my life far easier, but I think she's got a calling above and beyond just being at home. And so just going through the paces, trying to figure out what life looks like, especially now that the kids are back at school, because in the summertime, she doesn't have time to think about what possibly to do, because we've got our, kids going on activities all over the place. But now that she's going to have like days where they're both in school and she's sitting at home, it's going to come back to a head, trying to figure out her long-term plans and ambitions.
I'm going to make a prediction.
All right.
We're going to be interviewing Christy Gatto in 7 months, because she will be joining the Fiat Wealth Management team.
Technically, Christy's already part of the Fiat Wealth Management team, helping behind the scenes with things like the events that we put on, the happy hours, we just had that book launch party, things like that. She's a big part in making that kind of stuff happen. So, I mean, I didn't know where you were going with that. I didn't know you were like 7 months. I was like, I don't know if we're going back to the pregnant thing or have a kid thing. I was like, it takes more than 7 months, hopefully. Anyway, how about you?
We've been navigating that particular thing for a long time, but
having more kids?
No, the transition piece with being at home. No, first day of school for us, a little break in the action sports wise. So it's been, we've collected ourselves a bit, and we're picking ourselves up and getting ready for fall.
Does that mean that you're ready to have the podcast episode because we already did the podcast episode of like, where's Matt Stahl going? What's happening? When are we going to do should I make a prediction? In 7 months.
In 7 months.
We are going to have a podcast episode talking about Matt is doing.
Give me 3 months.
3 months. All right. Yes. I'm going to hold you to it, man.
And as you know, the Fiat's going to be a part of this. So
I think I knew that. I'm kidding. Anyway, we are here in another episode of Every Day is Saturday. Thanks for joining us. We actually have a new financial advisor that's joined the team. And there's a lot of unique things here, but one of the most unique things about this particular person is this is our first ever remote financial advisor, not physically in the Fiat office, which is in the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, and St. Paul. If you're unfamiliar, this particular person lives in God's country, also known as the state of Iowa.
You're supposed to do an echo effect there.
Oh, sure.
Iowa.
We'll edit it in. So lives in the Des Moines area. I don't want to steal too much more of their thunder. Mr. Mark Kline joins us today and also joins the Fiat family. Mark, welcome to Every Day is Saturday.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
Good. And welcome to Fiat as well.
lots of welcomes being passed around.
Mark, you came to us not from another advisory firm, but you came to us from a different industry altogether. So Mark, how in the world did you end up at Fiat Wealth Management?
Through Brad's dad. I have worked with your dad, Doug, for the past 8 or 9 years and got connected through him. So I was, Doug knew I loved anything financial, personal finance, and he had sent me your podcast and I listened to it. It was actually not Every Day is Saturday. It was just one you guest on.
Okay.
And I listened to it and turned to my wife after I was done and told her, I'm going to go work for Fiat.
How long ago was this?
This is probably about 9-10 months ago. So last fall.
Oh, well, there you go. And here you are.
And 10 months later, I mean, all the cards came together. You accepted me and welcomed me, and excited to join the team.
I don't think I knew that part of the story. I think when my dad told me the story was that you were listening to our podcast. And I also did not know that you had told your wife, I'm going to go work with them.
Yes, no. And it was literally right after I got done. I got off the couch and went and told her, and she's like, oh, okay.
Okay.
I was at my previous company for 12 years. So it was a pretty big change, been there a long time. And just to be like, yeah, that's what I want to do next. And
so not only 12 years at that company, but that was not a financial services company.
It was not. So it was more in the service, physical service industry.
Okay. But you were in sales. You just not at all this.
I was in sales. But completely different industry. But
all right. Well, we'll get more into that, but let's talk more about who you are personally. So you obviously don't live in the Twin Cities. Tell us where you live. Tell us about your family, and just kind of give us the story of Mark.
So born and raised in Iowa. So I grew up in Eastern Iowa and went to school up in Ames, God school.
Okay. We'll edit that part out too.
And
beep, beep.
So went to school up in Ames, went to college. I had a double major in marketing and biology. So a very, very unique interest. I started out in marketing or in
101.
Yeah.
Well, I started out in biology, and I did that for my first 2 years. And my sophomore year in college, I worked in a biology research lab. And I quickly discovered I did not want to do that for the rest of my life. It was miserable, just stuck there by myself pretty much all day. And so I quickly added on the marketing. I knew I was.
What do you do in a biology? I don't even know. Like, you're stuck there all day. What are you doing all day by yourself?
Microscopes.
Some microscopes. I mean, it was a lot of harvesting material. So it was a plant-based lab, which was even worse. But yeah, so just a lot of lab work.
What does that actually mean? Harvesting materials. Are you out collecting sticks? I mean, what is this?
He had to do a leaf diagram for his second grade science class.
That's a very biology term. We're harvesting materials.
So, I mean, we would grow plants in the lab, and then we would take specimens from them and test them. And
that makes sense.
Yeah. And it definitely was not for me.
So then you bolt on marketing.
So I added on marketing. I took a Victory half semester, which I was glad to get done in just 4.5 years. My last 2 years, though, adding a double major that late were miserable. I had a bunch of business roommates, and senior year, they were taking 10, 12 credit hours, and two of the credit hours were golf and tennis. And here I'm taking 22, 24 credits every semester, trying to get done. But I think it was a good decision overall. And so I graduated from Iowa State and moved to Des Moines, and have been in Des Moines ever since. Met my wife in Des Moines. So we met at the church we went to down there, and got married in 2013. So going on 9 years.
Nice job.
Yes, I was thinking through that to make sure I didn't.
What, Matt? Do you know he nailed it? He could be way off.
Well, he was confident in the delivery.
Sold you.
Got me.
But yeah,
I saw him look up, so I know he's accessing something.
I was thinking through it because I was like,
I can't screw this up. Can't screw this up.
What day?
So
2013,
June 1st, 2013.
Nice. My anniversary is June 2nd.
It's good time of year to get married.
It is. It was. Yeah, it is great.
So, and then, I've been married 9 years. We have 2 boys, Isaiah, who's 3.5, and Emmett, who's 1.5 years. And we're actually expecting our third coming in November. So
awesome.
So our house is crazy. It is just madness with 2 little boys, and they just love running around, chasing each other, tackling each other. And my wife just looks at me and she's like, we cannot have another boy. Like, she's like, we'll visit the ER. There will be blood. And yeah.
So you thought this was a great time in life to just switch careers.
Yeah. So
makes sense. Might as well.
It was perfect timing.
Might as well.
Yeah.
So what was your first position right out of school then?
So I got right into sales. So I was working for the company I worked for. The first position, I was selling floor mats, cleaning chemicals, and toilet paper.
Wow. can't believe you didn't want to do that for the rest of your life.
Yeah, no offense. I'm not very excited.
I think I would have rather harvested materials.
It was actually better than harvesting materials. So I mean, that kind of gives you an indication how bad harvesting materials was. But yeah, so I did that for a couple of years, and then I moved. The company I worked for, we had a first aid and safety division, so then I moved into more interesting stuff. So the past 10 years have been selling AEDs, which are defibrillators. We did a lot of first aid CPR training. So if you guys ever need someone to save your life,
wow, we should do a Fiat CPR class.
Yeah. Let's talk to HR about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been there 12 years. And like I said, I've always had an interest and a passion for personal finance. And when I found Brad and came across Fiat, I just saw it as a perfect opportunity to make the transition into the industry, and just excited to get started here.
Yeah. So we started talking a handful of months ago, and obviously without coming from this industry, you can't just walk into financial services, right? The Securities and Exchange Commission doesn't just allow you to do this business. If you want to do this business, you have to be licensed to do this business. So we had this conversation of what that was going to take. And I basically told you, Mark, I was like, I'm going to put the onus on you, man. Like, if you want to change careers and do this, then, we can have the conversation about what it looks like to be a part of Fiat, but you need to basically kind of tackle that beast on your own. So talk to me about the last handful of months and what you've been doing to prepare to join Fiat.
Yeah. So the securities license test was a lot. Spent hours pretty much every night, just going through the manual, and found practice tests. So I would sit on the couch on my phone and just take practice tests about regulations and laws. And yeah, I felt confident going into the test. And then when I sat down to take the test, the first probably half of it I was feeling great about. And then the second half, I was like, oh no, I did not pass that the first time. And pushing the button to see my result, I haven't been that stressed out in a long time. And luckily, it said pass. So
well, I can't even believe it. I mean, the good news is for those that are listening is, as I see it, my personal opinion, Matt, I'll let you add to this because I'm curious what your thoughts are. But when you think about the concept of being a financial advisor, what makes a good advisor, in my opinion, you have to care about people and have a passion for what you do.
Absolutely.
The knowledge of some of the nuance of this industry, whether it's, building out portfolios or understanding all the ins and outs of things like IRAs, which can be very complicated from a lot of different perspectives, or it's, cash flow planning or insurance plan, whatever it is. There's enough information out there in our industry and enough horsepower that we have here at Fiat to, whether you have 20 years of experience or you're kind of brand new to the industry, to make sure that the families that we serve can get access to that kind of stuff. But what's invaluable is finding a person that actually cares about other people in a meaningful way so that they will get to the right outcomes for the client. Because again, all the resources are going to be there. At Fiat, we've got all the horsepower that we need to, to make sure that even a brand new advisor like Mark is getting the best for his clients. But we need to make sure that we hire people that kind of have that passion, and we know we're going to care about other people. And so that's the part that I was most excited about, Mark, and having you join the team is I thought you kind of fit that bill. I didn't care at all that you didn't have any experience. I just knew that you'd be a person that if we could give you the resources to be able to build kind of these plans and to work in a meaningful way for the families that you serve, that you would do an amazing job just based on the fact that you would put in the effort that you would for the families that you serve. So I don't know how, Matt, if you want to add to that or if you have different feelings, but.
No, absolutely. Well, frankly, I think you have a leg up on Brad and I, because I don't think either of us came in with a passion for personal finance.
Nope.
So you're already a couple steps ahead of us. Now, we both found our stride with other areas of the business. So helping people solve challenges, the relationship side of things, creating things. And so absolutely the background of working with people and creating that trusting relationship, that, in my opinion, is one of the most important pieces. So absolutely.
Well, and you have a why, right? You've got two kids at home, you got another kid on the way. And so a lot of our successes in life are determined by our whys, and you're chasing a passion in spite of making a taking a big risk with little kids at home. And so that's going to breed to a ton of success for you here at Fiat. And so that's pretty exciting. So that said, I'm curious, all that leads to a question. What are you most excited about joining Fiat and kind of changing careers? And also, what are you most nervous or fearful about?
Most excited about just working with families on putting together a plan to help them achieve their goals. I mean, like I said, I've always had an interest in it, and I love listening to financial podcasts and just the opportunity to put those plans together where we're working with people and building that relationship and being able to know what they want to achieve and putting the plan together to help them go out and do that. And the thing that attracted me to Fiat was I just love the approach you guys take about money.
Yeah.
And just how it is a tool that we can use to achieve and live the lives that we want. I think a lot of the industry is just about trying to make as big a pile as possible and then not really allowing it to do what it's meant to do, which giving us options and freedom in our life. And so I just love the approach and just allowing that to help the clients, the families that I get to work with, and just allow them to put a plan together to have confidence just to live the life that they want to.
Awesome. What about the fear side
of the workshop?
The fear side, I would say the biggest fear would probably be just getting started.
You already did that, so
that's true. Okay, I'm done.
Day 3, it's over.
Oh, that's behind us. I'm glad we got over that.
I've got my computer all set up, so I mean, I'm ready to go. So
awesome.
This is out of sheer curiosity, given that you had a passion for personal finance. What is your first memory of money?
First memory of money, I would say probably early on. So my parents they're very frugal with their money. And I remember we would go out to eat and we would not be allowed to get sodas or lemonade just because it cost a little extra. And so I would say that was probably my first when I was super little, just knowing we were going out to eat and my dad would tell me, no, we got to save money. So we're not getting drinks when we go out to dinner.
So here's the important question. What happens when you guys go out to dinner now?
When we go out to dinner, I do get drinks now. So I've definitely.
What about for your boys?
Yeah, I would say it's probably about half and half right now.
Special occasions.
Special occasions, yes.
It's funny that came. I put a moratorium on my boys ordering whatever they want at restaurants because I can't take the amount of waste.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I order side salads.
Yeah.
And then I just eat off of everybody's plates that they don't eat.
I just had that experience recently. It's like, are you kidding me?
I think every dad can relate to having to be the trash
It's very much a
compactor.
dad moment. Just looking around, shaking your head.
Yeah, it's not good for the waistline though. I feel like because it's always like, oh man, there's food there. I'm gonna eat it, but
Yeah.
I probably shouldn't. But
So, Mark, talk to me a little bit about your personal feelings on finance. With you don't need to get too personal, I guess, if you don't want to, but with you and your wife and kind of living the life the way that you have chosen to lead life, like what values do you have in life that guide your decisions as it relates to money? Like what passions do you have around personally this area?
personally, our faith is important to us. So my wife and I are both Christians, and we believe that God has stewarded us what we have. And so we take that seriously in the way we spend our money, making sure that what we're doing with it aligns with our values, what we think would be a good application of our money. So we're definitely conservative when it comes to personal money. But I think that plays into everything. So, I mean, just giving, I think giving's important for everyone, just to have an open hand with their money and be willing to share it with others. And then just from a risk standpoint, I mean, we try to live as debt-free as possible. So just making sure that, just setting ourselves up to be able to make big changes when we feel called to,
Like give up a corporate job in the middle of having your third kid.
Yes.
Perfect.
So
We love to just anything about your story that we haven't asked that you just want our listeners to know? If the answer is no, that's fine. I'm just want to make sure we cover our bases.
I still am amazed you guys have allowed me to join Fiat. So I am a Cyclone. The majority of my family went to Iowa State, other than my wife. My wife is a Hawkeye. So I think she is probably why you guys allowed me to join Fiat.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been a Cyclone fan. I had a next door neighbor when I was growing up who played football for the Cyclones when I was probably 6 or 7, and we went to his games. And so I've ever since then have been pretty loyal to the Cyclones. I will throw in there because my mom will probably listen, and dad. My dad was a Penn State grad, so we grew up. Penn State football was a pretty big deal in our household. I had some friends growing up who were over and were cheering against Penn State, and my mom actually threw them out of the house, made them leave because they were cheering against Penn State. But yeah, so I'm a Penn State and a Cyclone. So like I said, I'm very surprised you guys allowed me to join Fiat. But
does Iowa State have a football program?
Must be new.
Well, we have improved greatly over our coach. Matt Campbell is doing a fantastic job. We just have struggled to beat the Hawkeyes the past, 6-7 years?
10.
No.
I don't know if you've noticed, most people listen to this, but we do have a video. So if you ever want to watch the podcast, you can watch it on YouTube. Mark actually has a halo above his head in the recording. I don't know if he picked up on that.
You know what that is?
Oh my goodness. Was that intentional?
I wish I could say yes, because that would have been epic. He's got a Tiger Hawk, which is the Iowa Hawkeyes logo, floating above his head in this video recording. Oh man.
Nailed it.
How about I'll end with, before we get to 5 fast questions, which we like to end our episodes with, in which we have a guest. Just talk to me a little bit outside of work. So outside of like Fiat, and I know you've got a couple small boys at home and another child on the way, but what do you and your wife like to do for fun, or just talk to us a little bit more about who Mark is?
Yeah, for fun, we like to do anything pretty much outdoors. So we have been runners since having little kids. We have been slacking a little bit in our running, but
put a cramp on a lot of things.
Yeah. It does. So when we first were dating, she had done 1 marathon.
What's your wife's name, by the way?
Caitlin.
Okay.
So when we were first dating, she had done 1 marathon before we had met, and she talked me into running a marathon, like probably 6 months within dating. And so at that point, she knew I was committed, because I had run a little bit before then, but nothing that far. And after that, we have run together. Well, when she was pregnant, she didn't run, so I was able to run 1 and catch up to her. But we've done 7 marathons so far. But yeah, anything outdoors. We love sports. I love skiing. Matt and I have connected a little bit over that, but love going out to Colorado when we can to ski. But yeah, pretty much anything sports or outdoors is what we typically do.
Awesome. So let's end, as we always like to, with these 5 fast questions. As a reminder, these questions are not preloaded. Matt and I just ask whatever comes to the top of our mind, and you answer with whatever comes to the top of your mind. So Matt, I'm going to let you lead us off.
I'm going to go with my trusty favorite question to kick this off. And what is the most influential book you've ever read?
That's a tough one. Oh gosh, I am blanking. I do love reading too. That's the hard part.
It's the last most influential.
There we go. I have been reading. It's called Simple Wealth, Inevitable Wealth. And so it's a book just about investing and investing strategy. And it's definitely not the most influential book I've read, but it's what's coming to mind.
Love it.
Growing up, what's one of your, that has to be podcast appropriate. What's one of your favorite memories? Because I know you've got siblings. I know you got brothers. And so 2 brothers?
Two older brothers.
2 older brothers. So the youngest of 3.
Yep.
And so there's going to be wonderful stories of having 3 young boys in the house. Share a fun story with the listeners of You and your brothers.
We surprisingly all got along pretty well for the most part.
Well, can you make something up for the
Oh
podcast?
no, I've definitely got one. I've got one. I was just prefacing it so you didn't think we were.
I know your parents are going to listen to
And
this.
one of them broke the.
Well, so I don't remember what we were doing in the yard, but we were out playing in the yard, and it turned kind of violent a little bit. And I was always the smallest and being the youngest, and so my brother and a couple of his friends tied me to the basketball pole. So I had a long sleeve shirt on, and I remember I was running around with my arms pulled out of my sleeves trying to whip them with them. And so they grabbed me, tied me to the basketball pole, and then proceeded to give me a wedgie. And literally my underwear ripped at that point. So
you're bullied by your older brothers in that moment.
Yes, but
I hope they feel bad now. Came out on a podcast. We asked you to share one story. Now this turned into like a psychiatrist visit.
How do you feel about that now?
I'm completely fine with it now. I'm okay emotionally.
I think I may know the answer because I think we had this conversation, but what would be your favorite meal?
Oh, favorite meal. I would probably Mexican. I love chips and salsa and queso, guac. I mean, you cannot beat just going chips and salsa. And then I also do probably, I don't know if I'd say my favorite, but one of my favorite drinks is margarita. So chips and salsa and margaritas. I mean, you
don't even need an entree.
No, you really don't.
I would agree.
And that's my problem. Half the time I go to eat at a Mexican restaurant, I'm full by the time the entree comes.
I can relate to that all too well. I love Mexican as well. Who is your hero or one of your heroes in life?
Man, these are tough.
Or somebody you look up to is maybe a different way you could define that.
I would say probably my dad. I feel like he has always been just a hardworking guy, super a smart guy. He was an engineer by training, and just I feel like I've learned a lot about life, and just a lot about life. I mean, I think a lot of the financially, he's definitely taught me a lot, and yeah, I would say my dad.
Awesome.
All right, final question. Is it Interstate 80? Is that one of the big highways that goes through Des Moines?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay.
You have a billboard. You get to put one sentence on that billboard on Interstate 80. What is it going to say?
Oh, billboard. I think it's just going to be Go Cyclones. I mean, it's pretty simple, but
I was looking for something very
hit the dump button.
Introspective.
That was the opposite.
It's coming from Iowa. I mean, I love it. I mean, it's just such a fun.
It's nice being an underdog. I mean,
it is.
people love it.
Yes.
Oh
yeah.
Like that's it. He's done. Oh, I love it. Go Cyclones. Oh man. That's as we record this, I mean, by the time it comes out, we're gonna hindsight's gonna be 2020. But as we record this, the Cy-Hawk game, which is the annual game against the Hawkeyes and the Cyclones, Iowa versus Iowa State, is coming up this weekend. It's in Iowa City, so it's a home game for Iowa. And if we are able to pull it off, I think it's 7 or 8 in a row. What is it? Not that I was counting or paying attention.
I think it would be 7.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
Well, how much money have you lost to my dad? Just count how many $20 bills you've handed my dad, and then you figure it out.
I think we've had it going pretty much since the Cyclones have not won. So I've
great timing.
Yes, I've given your dad a lot of $20 bills over the years.
You bought the Cyclone stock right when it started plummeting.
I did. I have not sold it yet though, so I have not realized my loss.
Oh, fair enough. Mark, I will just tell you that we're excited to have you as a part of the team. Like I said before, and I'll just reiterate it again, the most important part about being part of the Fiat family in general is a culture fit and making sure that everybody here, whether it's a client-facing advisor or it's somebody that's servicing staff or whatever it is, we just want to make sure that every member here is chasing after their own values in a meaningful way, living their own best lives, and that we have a positive culture internally at the firm, because that is what's going to fall over or overflow into the way that we treat our clients and the families that we serve. So on that note, very, very excited to have you as a part of the team. Like I said, also just very excited to have a presence in the state of Iowa, even though you are a Cyclone. You can't, everything can't be good. And excited to see what that looks like and how kind of the Fiat team and brand can possibly grow down in Des Moines. It'll be fun to look back on this episode a couple of years from now and kind of see what happened.
Yeah, I'm excited. I definitely appreciate the opportunity to come work for the Fiat team and start the Des Moines location.
Well, as the owner of the firm, I can just tell all the listeners out there that if you have an opportunity to work with Mark or become a family that Mark is serving, you're going to be in wonderful hands and have a person that genuinely cares about the outcomes that you seek. And so that's all you can really ask when you hire an advisor. So again, we're excited to have you. For all of our listeners, thanks for joining us on this episode of Every Day is Saturday. As always, if you want any more information about our firm, you can find us at our website, fiatwm.com, FIATWM.com. And if you like the way we educate, we have other ways that we do this. We have inner circle workshops, which are just over Zoom. You can listen in, topic rotating educational workshops and all things finances. We have blog posts that we put out. I have a book that I just recently came out with. You can go purchase that book. It's called Spending Money and Having Fun, Your Practical Guide to a Fearless Retirement. The easiest place to do that is through Amazon, and a plethora of other things. We just really value education here at Fiat. And so you can check our website. You can find all of our contact information and all of our educational resources right there. If you have not done so already, you can subscribe to the podcast. We'd love it if you do that. Share it with your friends and family. And outside of that, I just thank you for joining us for this episode. And we will see every single one of you next Saturday. Have a good day, everybody.
Thank you for listening to Every Day is Saturday. Click the subscribe button below to be notified when new episodes become available. The information covered and posted represents the views and opinions of the guest and does not necessarily represent the views or opinions of Fiat Wealth Management. The content has been made available for informational and educational purposes only. The content is not intended to be a substitute for professional investing advice. Always seek the advice of your financial advisor or other qualified financial service provider with any questions you may have regarding your investment planning.